It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call. Still on the call. Still on the call.
Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy.
And over the past 2 weeks, we've seen quite a few historical events for the U.S.
Such as the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, the ousting of Joe Biden for Kamala Harris, and what's been going on with RFK.
So on July 13th, Donald Trump almost lost his life. Instead, he only lost a little bit of his ear. And as we were being told, it was a lone shooter, but through congressional hearings with now resigned Director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, and Director Wray of the FBI today, we've seen that, well, there may be some questions that are still unanswered.
Well, lone shooter is one possibility, but other possibilities are the Republican Party itself, the Democratic Party, the Uniparty, or as the deep state would have us believe, Iran, which is completely unbelievable.
But I mean, why would the Republican Party want to do anything to their main candidate and nominee and ex-president?
In my opinion, the Republican Party is probably the most likely culprit and had the most opportunity to do so.
Why?
Well, they knew he was going to select J.D. Vance. They probably had prior warning, and that would be the end of the rhinos. You have two factions within the Republican Party, the MAGA faction and the traditional rhino faction, Republicans in name only. And with the pick of J.D. Vance, you're going to see the end of the rhinos.
But don't you think J.D. Vance was selected after, not before the assassination attempt?
I don't know.
Okay, well, either way, there's still so many questions that are left unanswered. Luckily, Kimberly Cheadle resigned, but we'll have to see what Director Christopher Wray and anybody else in the FBI and what kind of information they actually do have and will release, which I'm sure will be very little.
Well, her resignation was a little bit suspicious. It took 9 or 10 days. Mm-hmm. That gave them a lot of time to figure out who the replacement's going to be and what the new narrative's going to be to sell the public.
And she only resigned after both Democrats and Republicans lambasted her for about 3.5 hours on Monday.
Well, we had the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, and we had the ousting or the political assassination of Joe Biden's career.
Well, yes, after they finally admitted that there was some sort of issue, even though now incumbent, I'm guessing, President Kamala Harris, or Vice President right now, won't admit it because she's been asked and then has been hiding. They had this weird recording meeting between her and Biden when she announced that she was going to start campaigning. That was an interesting recording where she said, a call where she almost called it a recording. And there's still a lot of questions. I mean, he was hiding for about 6 days in Denver before he reappeared after a medical emergency in Las Vegas about a week ago. There's still a lot of questions about that. We don't know why there was so much police presence in Las Vegas. And, well, who is running the U.S., basically the most important country in the world right now, and all the threats that are incoming towards it and everybody else that surrounds it?
How do you replace one bad candidate with an even worse candidate in Kamala Harris? She's maybe popular in California, Oregon, and Washington, 3 states the Democrats already have. In all the swing states, she's extremely unpopular. And the swing states was Joe Biden's strength. As much as I don't like Joe Biden, his whole career, the swing states were his.
And I mean, if it's not her, they still have until August 19th when the Democrat National Convention is going to be happening. But they still have until then to figure out what they're going to do. We've seen that Obama hasn't wanted to really put all his efforts behind Kamala Harris. He hasn't really endorsed her when he made a statement about Joe Biden, who, by the way, in a very dignified manner, resigned with a Twitter post, not on official White House letterhead, and with a signature that looked, interestingly, not like all his other signatures. But, I mean, if they don't put up Kamala Harris, we've seen the Clintons have her back in some way, but, I mean, the Obamas, who are the other very important wing of the Democratic Party,
well,
I mean, who are they going to pick if it's not her?
Well,
they still have about a month.
Well, a strategy for the Democrats could be put up Joe Biden, have Trump spend hundreds of millions of dollars fighting him, then switch him out for Harris, which before she gets a foothold in promoting who she is, they need to really take her out. So that's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars. And at the convention, they can do one final switch out from somebody from left field who's maybe not politically oriented, such as Oprah Winfrey, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, or Matthew McConaughey.
I mean, out of those three, the only, I think, one that could really hold a candle would be Oprah Winfrey, because it cannot be a white dude or a dude just in general. It has to be a woman of color.
You don't know what The Rock identifies as these days. He could be non-binary.
Oh yeah, he could come out dancing in a little tutu, but he has been throwing a bit more support towards, not the Republicans, but at least towards the other side of the aisle. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Well, I would like to say one more thing. We're about 3 to 4 months away from this election. And if you know what happened in the last election in 2020, Joe Biden won all 50 states when it came to mail-in balloting, and Trump won all 50 states when it came to in-person balloting. On this election right now, there is no COVID, so every state is not going to have mail-in balloting. So will there be something that comes up to make mail-in balloting happen?
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, there are those threats from Iran, and let's not forget that there is some COVID, only it's present in Joe Biden only. And I mean, as to for RFK, what impacts could he have on this election? But more importantly, what impacts will he have moving forward now that there's been such a reshuffling of the Democrat Party?
Well, RFK really had a lot of trouble. He was really torn to actually leave the Democratic Party and to go independent. And now that he is an independent, he has talked really well on Joe Biden and really good about Donald Trump. He actually worked with Donald Trump in the last administration as well. He's the only candidate really acting presidential. When he does attack these candidates, he doesn't attack the candidate themselves. What he attacks is their platform and their ideas. And he does it in a very civilized manner.
And I mean, we did see Trump in a leaked phone call try to persuade him to maybe join him as well, but it seems that he's still standing strong by himself. So probably not in this election, but moving forward, the very undemocratic Democrat Party, who has now appointed not once but twice, but about 5 times now, candidates or presidents, well, we'll have to see what they do with him, because he is becoming a stronger threat, not for right now, but maybe for 2028.
Well, Donald Trump did use MAGA to take over the Republican Party with populism. RFK right now is separated as an independent, but he's gathering support from the left, the right, and the moderates. In 2028, if he comes back strong and rejoins the Democratic Party as they're in free fall and collapse, he has a good chance of having a populist revolution within the Democratic Party itself.
And then we'd have 2 populist factions, and not just in America, but we're seeing the sentiment rise all over Europe because of the situation that those that uphold democracy have put us in.
Well, that would be the deep state's worst nightmare, I think.
Probably. But I guess that's it for now. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Adios.